welcome to SnatchTalk. Oh, hello there, I'm the Velvet Snatch. It was week 3 of Newcastle Drag Idol 2022 on Sunday, and the storm clouds were beginning to gather at Switch Bar. Last week, the remaining 12 contestants got the shock news that, for the first time in Drag Idol history, they would need to work in teams for their performance this week. The randomly chosen pairings were Peer Pressure and Reese Prectrum, Skankii KandL and Lavender Love, Veggie Stripper and Dyldo, Stacey Rhect and Laila Sagitarria, Bonnie and Bendover with Mercury.co.uk, and Titania Gemini with Meaty Cleaver. As usual, the performances would be judged by the prestigious panel of Ophelia Balls, Penni, Tration, and the raunchy Rusty, who I'm glad to say was recovering well from their recent breast reduction surgery. And it wouldn't be Drag Idol without Queen of Comedy herself, Miss Rory, with the self-proclaimed People's Princess even taking time to acknowledge reigning Drag Idol winner Frida Sapphic in the crowd.
You're the one that won last year. You shouldn't have.
Once the judges were settled in, it was time for our first performance of the night. Stacey Rhect and Laila Sagitarria as Team Distance. Before they got to step out in front of the judges, however, I got to speak to the pair backstage to see how they were getting on. Hello, I'm chatting here with Laila Sagitarria and Stacey Rhect. How are you feeling about today?
Really, really good.
We are honestly so bloody excited to be working together. Like, first of all, we were really fucking nervous. Can we swear?
Nervous.
Yeah. I've already done it.
You have.
Been there, done that.
We were nervous at first, but now we're just gonna do our best and we're gonna have fun.
We're really confident in our number because, like, even with the distance, the fact that we've managed to make it work, and even if it doesn't go down well, which
we've put so much
will,
from
like,
our end. We've put so much effort in, like, to say that you live in like Newcastle and I live in bloody Hull, like 3 hours away from each other, and we still come out with like a pretty solid number.
I'd say a banging number, yeah. Like,
I'm so proud of her.
I love you.
She's a bloody icon.
Come here.
Oh.
Steady now. So you're on first. How does that make you feel after all this?
Excited, you know. I've been on last, been on in the middle. Now it's time to do the first, you know.
I've been on exact middle, now first, and I think we're going to set a tone for the night, which I'm really excited about because it's going to be...
We're going to open the show with a bang.
A bang. A big bang.
Yes, darling.
So how did you manage to rehearse? Like, did you organise everything through, like, you know, video chats and things?
So if you'll see from our performance later that we've tailored our mix in a way that deals with the distance issue, and we've done it in a way where we use that issue as a strength. So, you know, you've got to use your weaknesses as a strength.
Right there. And I've got a lot to learn from last week as well, because even though I liked what I did, it was not my best by far. Like, I know I could do way better. Looking back at the video, I noticed every single flaw, take on the judges' critiques, and I can only go up from here, so... And I couldn't have worked with anyone better.
I've pushed her to do different stuff than what she's done before. And I've made a friend, a very good friend out of Miss Laila.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for chatting to me. Good luck.
Talk to you after the show.
See you later, doll.
Team Distance's performance was a great start to the night, taking the form of a rivalry between the pair, with both queens competing against each other, with Laila throwing some additional shade once she was pushed into the background. After some fantastic demonstrations of their dance skills, the competition stepped up a notch, with the pair critiquing one another's previous performances, with Laila channeling Stacey's best Katie Price lip sync from week 1.
I'm Katie Price, or known as Slapper, Surgery Freak, you name it, it's been said to me.
The gauntlet had been thrown, however, and Stacey retaliated by imitating a slip-up that Laila had made as Lady Gaga in week 2. There were plenty more jokes to be made, mostly at the expense of Penny T, but in the end the pair decided to leave it up to the judges to decide who was better. It was an interesting spin on the team mechanic, with both giving each other their time in the limelight and giving as good as they got joke-wise. Rusty loved the references to their previous performances and described it as very, very clever. Rory was less positive, saying that she zoned out a bit and that it was a little bit too long, but she loved seeing Laila's fun side. Penni disagreed that it was too long, describing Stacey as a firecracker and praising Laila for really bringing it this week. Ophelia, on the other hand, decided to show her appreciation in her own special way by wetting the stage. I agree, dear, clapping is just so passé. After Team Distance, it was time for a little bit of Meaty Titty, with Meaty Cleaver and Titania Gemini taking up roles as TV presenters for their new channel Gay Boy News. The performance was done live, with the two reeling off scripted dialogue, including a confusing plethora of jokes that just didn't land.
Well, that sounds a bit odd to me.
Well, some did, kind of.
Oh, but apparently 90% of co-workers have a sexual attraction towards each other.
The narrative was fairly ramshackle, with a warning of a Storm Gladys leading into a lip sync to the Weather Girls mashed with, well...
Gladys Duffy. Gladys Duffy.
Not even a jaunt into musical theatre could give the performance the cohesion it needed, and the number ended with an incoherent reveal and... what does that say? Stab the living. Well, she is from Wall's End, I suppose. If I'm honest, the performance was a mess. Nothing really clicked, and the rapport expected from the two just never materialised, with Rory stating that they'd had high hopes for the pairing, but it missed the mark. Peer Pressure and Reese Prectrum were up next to bring a touch of class back to proceedings.
Do you know what we are? We're fucking cock destroyers, aren't we?
Never mind.
Do you know what? Rub those fucking balls in our mouths. Yeah. They will fucking teabag you.
Considering the pair had not been able to rehearse with one another in person, their number was nicely coherent, with some fun song choices, dance sections, and even a deleted scene from Academy Award-winning movie Driving Miss Daisy.
I'm driving for dick. I wanna be that calm dump. I'm driving for dick. I want the spunk all on my face.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it's from.
I'm driving for dick. I wanna be that calm dump. I'm driving for dick. I want the spunk all on my face.
The drama continued on, with the cock destroyers turning to frock destroyers and breaking up.
I wanna break up.
Only to reunite later in the performance.
You are my best friend.
The crowd loved it, with Pia's fan club and admittedly myself cheering and hollering throughout. However, the judges were not so enthused, with Penni feeling that Pia had been pushed into the background slightly, with Reese showboating. Rusty agreed, saying that she didn't enjoy it as much as their individual performances, but later describing it as like an X-rated French and Saunders sketch, which, being British, is kind of high praise. Rory, however, pointed out that the punters enjoyed it, eliciting a huge roar from the audience, going on to describe the dynamic between the two characters in the performance as Pia being the awkward best friend who just goes along with whatever Reese's character suggests. Rory did feel, however, that it went on a little bit too long. Next was the matchup that many of us had been waiting for. Would our dynamic duo Bonnie and Ben Dover be able to work with oddball character actor Mercury.co.uk? What theme could possibly combine their divergent styles? We were about to find out as Team Science Fiction triple feature took to the stage to rocky up the competition, and hot patootie, bless my soul, were we in for a treat. We started off with Bonnie and Ben as Brad and Janet. before Mercury stepped out as Dr. Frankenfurter in their full alien majesty. Together, the trio flowed through a sensational edit of tunes and choreographed routines, with Ben dressing down into the eponymous Rocky Horror for further gags later, and Judge Penny T grinning throughout like someone had just posted one of those McDonald's voucher booklets through her door. The performance earned the trio a standing ovation from all 4 judges, the first in the competition thus far, and the first that I can remember for a good long while, with Rusty declaring, "The competition has started," and Penny gushing that it was one of the performances that will stand out forever in Drag Idol history. Rory was uncharacteristically full of praise, declaring the performance as absolutely fucking incredible and everything that she would want to see, even going so far as to suggest they just head over to Boulevard now and tell them they'd won. Despite their assumption, however, the competition was not over yet, with Team Lankii yet to crawl onto the stage. The pairing of last week's winner Lavender Love with Skankii KandL did not disappoint, with the two joining together literally as a human centipede.
We work together like a family, like the human centipede.
There was some gross out humour and even a hilarious attempt at choreography. But nothing lasts forever though, and soon it was time for the two to part ways. But they couldn't stay apart for long, with Lavender soon returning and reuniting with her teammate. It was a very funny performance, with the perfect choice of tracks, and coming in around the 3.5 minute mark, it didn't overstay its welcome. Possibly feeling upstaged, the stage decided to intervene next, with the new banner falling over Rory.
Christine! Sing for me, Christine!
As usual, she took the occurrence in her usual good graces.
Oh, that'll help a fucking gaffer tape.
Once the banner was fixed and Chris Howe thoroughly reprimanded, the judges were able to summarise their thoughts on the performance, and it earned another unanimous standing ovation. Penni was shocked and hadn't thought anything could be as good as the previous number, describing the pair as crazy motherfuckers and that she didn't expect them to do something like that. Rory was equally impressed, thanking them for doing it and calling it absolutely fabulous and fantastically edited, stating that she couldn't believe that this was the same Lavender Love from week 1. Finally, we had Veggie Stripper and Dyldo as Team Baby and Blacktrick Swayze. I got the opportunity to chat to the pair before they went on. Here's what they had to say. Blacktrick Swayze. Right, I'm here with the delightful Veggie Stripper and Dyldo. How are you feeling about tonight?
I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Nervous, but I'm ready.
How did you find getting paired together in the last week?
Do you know what? I've actually had the most fun this week. Like, I've had a great time working with Dyldo. She's so easy to work with.
Yeah, I don't really think you and me would usually do a number in any sort of the same realm, so putting it together has been quite interesting.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling about the competition so far? Has the having to do a number in a week stress started kicking in yet?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, that and like working and living my life. It's my birthday today, so that as well.
I totally forgot as well. I saw and I was just like, oh, I need to mention that. And then, yeah, so happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm old now. But, but yeah, it's not been, I've enjoyed the challenge. I enjoy a good challenge. So yeah.
It's been alright. Bit stressful, not really used to it. I mean, I didn't perform a lot beforehand. I've already performed like 3 times before I did Drag Idol, so coming into it, I was like, oh, what am I doing? But actually getting the challenge and being able to just see how it all works and being a bit more creative than I would usually be, it's very, it's fun.
So One thing I wanted to ask is that, both of you perform at Pebble Dash's open drag night at Bobby's. What kind of review can you give of that for people who are wanting to get into drag?
Do you know what? I would recommend it to anyone because the scene is so welcoming. The crowd is like wonderful every week. Every performer is so nice and welcoming, and it's perfect. It's so perfect.
The atmosphere is brilliant in Bobby's, especially because it was probably one of the first gay bars or LGBT-friendly venues I had been to. It was quite nice to just go in, feel at home, get on the stage and just do whatever I wanted to do, really. So yeah, it was pretty nice.
That sounds amazing. Pebble Dash's open drag night is on every other Wednesday at Bobby's in Newcastle. Okay, thank you so much for speaking to me and good luck for tonight.
Thank you.
The number started with Veggie and his now trademark live vocals, with Dyldo arriving soon after to join in on the Dirty Dancing anthem. Veggie and Dyldo strutted their stuff, with the audience singing along and cheering at Veggie's charismatic stage presence, before the track fell into a more stable, scripted routine, with Dyldo declaring,
Oh my god, Veggie, we've absolutely smashed it!
But there was trouble in paradise, and the beginning of a lot of headache for Dyldo, with a slapstick turn to the performance that thankfully didn't affect her too much.
And I owe it all to you.
The number really fell into a great groove, with both the comedy elements, rapport between the two, and dance moves that, while I expected them from Veggie, I was very impressed to see Dyldo not only keeping up, but actually shining. I'll be perfectly honest, the start was very shaky, and maybe the live vocal went on for a little bit too long. But by the end, the number had turned into one of the best of the night, with the rapport between the teammates centre stage. Judge Penni shared the same sentiment, saying that the ending saved it and that she loved the team name. Rusty loved the song choices and moves, and Rory commented on Veggie's impeccably braided hair, praising Veggie's girlfriend's talented fingers, stating that the number got her, and got her hard. No, that's genuinely what it says. Well, that's all the performances out the way, and it was a very, very interesting selection. Pairings that we thought would be guaranteed home runs like Titania and Meaty somehow failing to meet expectations, while pairings that on paper seemed unlikely, such as Bonnie and Ben with Mercury and Veggie Stripper with Dyldo, shone through as resounding successes. While we're on the subject though, one thing that I want to mention is that I'm a big fan of both Bend Over and Dyldo's ability to emote and add additional character to their numbers with just the slightest little touches. Ben's little gestures and winks and Dyldo's Stepford wife style smiles and grimaces just add such an endearing quality to their respective performances. So, what was my performance of the night? Well, I'm afraid that if you were expecting me to surprise you, you're going to be disappointed. Bonnie and Ben and Mercury were phenomenal, and I can't praise the number enough. The perfect mix of dance, comedy and spectacle, with each performer getting their own chance to shine, and Mercury feeling like the most natural addition to the team.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
The way the tracks were edited together and jokes were timed meant that there was never a dull moment, and I could watch it again and again. Also, just pay attention to Penny T's reaction when she realised that Bend Over was wearing actual tap shoes when performing the time warp. Missed that? Here it is again. She hasn't moved that excitedly since her gastric band snapped. It's spoiler territory now though, so if you don't want to know who wins and who goes home, please like, share, subscribe, comment telling me that I'm a bald bitch, and switch off. If, however, you're an Amazon priestess with the strength of 1,000 tigers, here's the tea. Performance of the week was too close to call for the judges, with a double winner announced between Bonnie, Bendover and Mercury and Skankii KandL and Lavender Love. After a few tense moments, we saw Laila Sagitarria and Stacey Rhect move on to the next round, followed by Dyldo and Veggie Stripper. This sadly left two teams in the danger zone, Meaty Cleaver and Titania Gemini and Reese Prectrum and Peer Pressure. But with only two contestants set to go home, it was up to Ophelia to announce the solution.
You've all been working together all week. Now you are competing against each other in a lip-sync battle.
This was a particularly cruel twist, with the good favour the pairs had built up with one another during the week having to be kicked to the wayside to keep them in the competition. First up, it was Peer against Reese in a lip-sync battle to Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande's Rain on Me. Things started off well, but we saw Reese stumble, giving Peer crucial solo stage time. She recovered quickly, but it felt like Peer maintained the edge. For an impromptu lip-sync, it was incredibly impressive that both of them knew the song and the requisite dance moves. Peer's approach was more controlled and savvy, whereas Reese's was more energetic and dramatic. It was Titania vs Meaty next, lip-syncing to RuPaul's Sissy That Walk. It started humbly enough, with both girls taking turns at being front of stage, but gradually the claws came out. Soon the shirts were off, with Titania surprising the crowd with a leotard reveal. The energy heightened as the song built to the chorus, with both girls leaping into the air, Titania going for a death drop and Mia attempting some kind of flailing WWE elbow drop. Thankfully, the only casualty was Titania's wig that tapped out for the rest of the bout. Following this, and not to be outdone, Mia threw a handstand into the mix, and the two fought out the final bars with more attitude than you'll find on the top shelf of your local newsagents. But after all that, the judges had some deliberating to do, with each judge putting forward their case for who they thought should be saved. The contestants being brought back to the stage, it was announced by Ophelia that their decision was unanimous and based entirely upon their performance in their lip sync. What was that decision? Well, to the crowd's shock, we saw fan favourites Peer Pressure and Reese Prectrum leave the competition, with both halves of Meaty Titty saved to continue through to week 4. It was a bold decision by the judges, choosing not to pander to the contestants' respective fan bases, but instead going with how they performed in the lip sync challenge. With the remaining 10 contestants finally decided, it was time to announce the theme for the next week, which was, of course, Disney Week. After everything was said and done, the judges, the contestants, and myself went upstairs to celebrate Veggie's birthday with a cake that Dyldo had brought, and I got to speak to Penni T about how they felt the competition was going. Right, I'm here with the sensational Penni Tration, who is preoccupied at the moment because she has birthday cake. How are you doing, Penni?
Bear with. Gorgeous.
Was that actually handmade by Dyldo? That's a weird brand.
I don't, in all fairness, Veggie's girlfriend handed the cake out and said, I promise you my hands are clean, I've only been inside Veggie.
It's gluten-free, I suppose.
I've even took 2 of my nails off to eat the cake. Look at this.
Really getting into the lesbian thing, aren't you?
Oh my God. I should have moved that one then, shouldn't I, as well, you know. Split uvulas everywhere. I hope this is not family friendly.
So, what are you feeling about the competition so far?
No shade to any other competitors. You were one of my girls. This is probably the toughest year I've ever judged. This is my 8th competition that I've judged. Tonight was heartbreaking. It really, really was. You know, we send girls home, and normally it's just like, see you later, ta-ra, and that's it. Tonight, I've actually took the time to go over to the 2 And I don't know if anyone knows, I'm keeping it quiet for you, but I've gone over to the 2 competitors that we've lost and actually spent time with them, spoken to them, because they're stars. They are stars. And they've got a career so much ahead of them. They really do.
We got this far in the competition and you're like, I don't want anyone to go because I don't think there's any chaff at all.
It was discussed tonight. Do we only get rid of one? Do we let them all stay and get rid of more next week? And we've got to remember that it's a competition. Somebody has to go home. And, you know, last week, everyone was in uproar because we lost Jasmine. And it's going to be the same when people see this week's video as well, because it's another of the favourite queens that have left. But it's a competition. We've got to do our job, and it's hard because we had to remove the emotions to be able to do it. And the twist at the end made it 15 times harder. It really did.
Was it meant to make it easier and it totally backfired?
I think it was more, let's keep it entertaining. You know, we only ended up with was it 6 numbers because it was teams. So, you know, we had that time to be able to do something like that. And it just made our job so much harder because we had to go on what we saw with the lip sync. We had to forget the previous numbers because if we didn't go with what happened in the lip sync, then there was no point to it.
One thing I wanted to ask is obviously, like, you know, I'm very much Team Penni. I was Team Penni in our year, but it was like, why are there not teams this year? Is it because there's like more than the usual amount of judges, or?
No, it's standard. We have a lot of queens in it this year that are already working. And the thing we try to do is potentially not morph a queen, but help them to become who they want to be. And a lot of the queens are already where they want to be. So we weren't needed. So it's hard because I loved being a mentor, but at the same time I love it because I'm not having that, she's my girl, I don't want her to go. I can just be honest and truthful with it this year, which is very different to normal. I love it though. I love it. Love it. You're all going home and I'll be back and still getting paid.
No, thank you so much for speaking to me, Penni.
You know I'll always speak to you. One of my favourites, this one, even though she is hairy.
Thank you so much.
No worries, babe.
Finally, before we lower the curtain on Teams Week, I had the privilege of speaking to Drag Idol's most famous double act and former winners of the competition, Danny DeLonco and Plopalina Shitstorm, also known as Dragon and the Whale, about what they thought of the competition so far. Right, this is very special. I'm here with the wonderful Dragon and the Whale. Previous winners of Drag Idol and the first double act to win, I think?
Well,
yeah,
we deserved it, to be fair.
Definitely we're the first winners. And so far only winners. But will we be the only winners for long?
Well, time will tell.
So what are you thinking about doubles week? What did you think of the acts?
What did you think, DeLonco?
I thought that at least me or her should have been a judge.
Yeah.
Let's start off.
Would have been appropriate, like.
I thought it was so good. I thought it was interesting how some of them sort of took a me and then you and then me and then you approach, and then some of them took a proper team. It was interesting to see how some of them slotted in and some of them just became next to each other. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. They knew how to work with each other and they found different ways to do it.
Still go down there.
I tell you, I mean, I walked in halfway through and I kind of saw, I'm not going to say who, but like one team was getting bad critiques and then the next one got bad critiques as well. I thought, oh my God, it's going to be bad critiques week, you know, because there's been 2 weeks of good critiques. And it reminded me of when we done it. And I'm not going to mention no names, but there was a certain queen from our year who said that there should be a separate year for... There should be a separate competition for double acts.
Who said that?
Should I say?
Yeah, go on. It was 4 years ago. Put them on blast.
Yeah. Okay, so Katana thought that... there should be...
The shade!
Katana thought that there should be a separate competition for double acts because they thought there was an unfair advantage, but then she tried it next year and didn't quite manage it. So, I mean, but this year, watching back, I mean, they've had 1 week to prepare for this. And it's hard work, isn't it? I mean, we fought like cat and dog. We did for 6 weeks, didn't we?
Me and Plop had 7 weeks, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, we had that actually.
Was that we've known each other for like 5 years?
Yeah.
Going into the competition, and we knew each other pretty well, and that's why we did a double act. But these bitches, some of them have never met. Some of them,
different countries.
Some of them in different countries.
Yeah.
Like Yorkshire, and some of them knew each other a bit, but no one had that like proper 5-year bond.
It is hard work.
So it was a different,
So, who's your favourite to win the competition?
Oof. Well, I've got my eye on a couple. I think Bonnie and Ben are tidy. I think we're going to see some dark horses. I think we're going to see like Meaty Cleaver. I think is going to come through. It really is hard to call. Like this week now, watching it. Who left? I can't remember. Who left?
Pia and Reese. Have you just found out?
Yeah, I know they did the lip sync, but I didn't know they both left.
Where have you been?
Downstairs.
You're not watching?
No, I was watching. I didn't know they both leave. God almighty. Let's find the Cox left as well.
Yeah.
Name by nature.
Thundercox by name by nature.
Should be in the danger.
No, not really. Thundercox
by name by nature.
Started on the bottom, now she's gone home.
I heard my name, I was like, I'm going to come over.
Who's that?
We've summoned her. We didn't even need a pentagram.
You know what I'm going to say, didn't you?
But
should we do a Font the Cox seance? Should we get a bottle of Parmesan?
No.
Okay, sorry. Okay. Right, back to business. Sorry.
I need to get back to work.
You broke me. Okay, no, I'm going to say farewell, but thank you so much for speaking to me, Dragon and the Whale.
It's been a pleasure, never a chore.
Can I just say that I love the podcast, video cast, and I watch it every week. I've never missed an episode.
I shared it on my Instagram today.
What's it called?
I haven't had a thank you yet, but I did. SnatchTalk. She talks to the Snatch.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of SnatchTalk. I've been the Velvet Snatch. Goodbye.